Talk of the Town kicks off with Tremonton's Chalk Affair. Meet Shannon Johnson from Academy Mortgage and find out why property taxes are being raised in Tremonton.
We're here with Parks and Recreation Director Zach Lefevre, and we're just here to talk a little bit about the Chalk Affair event that's going on today. First, let's start with you telling us a little bit about your experience with the city.
I have been here for 10 years here in Tremont City. I started out as the recreation coordinator for the city. We started out really small. I was just over sports. I've added responsibilities throughout my time here, adding softball tournaments, different things like that. 2018, I was put over the Arts Council, and at that same time we started the Midland Square Chalk Affair to provide an artistic avenue for people to come out and recreate and put their stamp on the town for a short time. So, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how it's evolved over that time.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to the murals. In 2014, we had a kind of little council come in, and we came up with all our the things that we have in the community, and the murals were one thing that were pointed out. And so ever since then, there's been an emphasis on the murals and the arts. And then 2018, they sent me to the Change Leader program, where I was tasked to kind of have a project, and the project was to create an arts council. And at that time, just throwing a chalk art contest was a big thing back then, and a lot of the people, my contacts, said how great it was for the community and different things. So that's how it came to be. It started off really small. I think there was 5 people the first year. We had one local, and just people would love to come when they saw what was happening and just chalk with them. But there was 3 artists and 2 others that did it the first year. Some of the 3 that started with us have come every year, and they're back here. So we can talk to them later. But it's grown. This year we had over 40 participants. The last 2 years, I believe, that's what we've had, around 40 participants, and it just continues to grow in popularity. And we have people from all over the state that come. We've had people from Cedar City this year. We have people from Sandy and from South Jordan that are here, plus some of our locals. So, yeah.
So I know you mentioned that you wanted to bring the arts to the community. What do you feel it's done for Tremont City, as well as its participants and the citizens who enjoy it?
As you know, we're a very sports-oriented community, and it just gives another avenue for people to share their interests. And even those that are huge into sports, they can love music or arts or drawing or anything art-related. And this just is one of those small, different chances to share an interest that they have. And it's a competition, so you can come and compete and share your skills. And it's they're temporary murals that are on the sidewalk that anyone can come and visit and view, just like our other permanent murals. So.
How long do they last? If it doesn't rain, about how long can people enjoy them?
So a lot of the chalk that they use, it's not permanent, but they're pastels, and so it'll rain and it'll dull, but they can last into the winter. But if it continues to rain and stuff, they'll last about a week or 2, but they'll just be dull and messed up. But in the good spots, you can see them all the way into the winter. So.
And you mentioned awards. What kind of awards do you guys hand out?
Yeah, so we do a first and second award for plaques. We give them plaques for first and second, plus a people's choice. So there's a professional division, an amateur adult division, a teen division, a youth, and then a children's division, plus the people's choice, which is the most coveted, right? Because that's the one everyone gets to vote for. So they get a Visa gift card for the top, the winner of each division, and then the plaque for second as well. So, yep.
And today's event is wrapping up. How successful do you think it's been?
It's been great. I mean, this weather's awesome. We haven't had the chance of rain. It's not excessively hot, And as you can see, there's some amazing artwork out there. It's always a success when we get people to come into town and enjoy themselves and create and feel that they can express themselves in a safe way. So, yeah.
So obviously this has become an annual event, but what are some of the other things up the Art Council sleeve?
The murals and this are the big things that we do. Actually, our mural, we started, the artist came and started yesterday, so our new mural. So you can go see that. It's on the back of Johnny Cray's building here on Main Street. So those are the big things that we do. We've tried some other things that haven't been as successful, arts festival, and we're exploring things that will be successful and that we can add to the community, and we just go from there. And if something sticks, we'll continue to do it year after year.
So Chelsea and Cindy, you guys have been coming to this event since the very beginning. Just tell me a little bit about how you got into chalk art and why you like this event.
So the very first chalk art that we did was it was at the Gateway, which is now, they've moved their chalk art to Harrington Center now. But it was for foster care, and I have two adopted siblings. My mom and dad did foster care, so they became part of our family, so it was like an important thing for us. And we just kind of fell in love with the chalk art and have been doing it ever since. And we heard Tremonton was doing one, and it's such a cute town, we figured we'd show up.
How would you compare this event to other ones that you've gone to?
This is one of my favorite events just because it has that like small town feel to it, whereas like the bigger events, it's like, oh, we gotta get done, we gotta do this, and here it's like everybody's like, oh, it's fun, and there's kids running around, and it's just like so much more like just cozy and fun. I don't know.
It is nice to have like all the kids around too, so that they're growing up learning about art and being around it, and it is a really fun environment.
So I just did like a little Volkswagen Beetle that is a lawn ornament somewhere in the United States. I don't know where, but like I said, Pinterest. But I don't know, it just made me happy, so I figured we'd give it a whirl.
Just a Pinterest picture. I'm not sure even where it came from, but somewhere on Pinterest. The theme this year is Remember, so we thought kind of the vintage, I don't know.
Tell me a little bit about like the time that you guys have to do this, and if that's ever stressful.
Never.
It's always stressful for him. He struggles to get them done, but he does a ton of detail, and this is a piece that he designed of Frida Kahlo, and it's going to be 3D, so you have to stand in a certain place to get it the three-dimensional. So he always like pushes it to the limit, but he also does like amazing work.
Yeah.
Well, if you're thinking about trying it, come and do it. It's so fun, and it's such a laid-back environment, and no judging, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Good time, come get messy.
Yeah. We're here with Lisa Wyatt, who just finished up her mural for the chalk event. Tell us a little bit about where your inspiration came from.
Actually, I've been hired to do a piece in eastern Idaho, and so this was my practice piece, plus I didn't get to do the Hogle Zoo this year, and so I wanted to bring him out and finish him up here. So I think he turned out well. I'm happy with him.
And so how long have you been participating in this event or other chalk art events?
I think this is my 5th year here in Tremonton. It was my 2nd event that I ever did was here in Tremonton, so it's one of my favorites. I love that it's just down the street and I get to support my local community.
And do you remember what kind of drove you into wanting to do this type of art?
Well, I found a contest, just a local advertisement in Brigham City. My watercolor class had just ended, and I was looking for something to do because I want to become a professional artist one day. Kind of like a late in life type discovery, and I found the Brigham City Chalk Art Contest, and I just fell in love with it, and I've just been doing this every summer ever since. The purposes of my art is to raise awareness for OUR. My YouTube channel mentions it. I'm trying to raise awareness, and if I ever do get to the point where I've got fans and I get paid, the proceeds will go to OUR. And I'm a regular donor as well. I think it's a really great cause and something worth promoting.
How do you feel Tremonton's event compares to other ones that you've been involved in?
I think they do top rate. They treat their artists right. They always have water and snacks for us. They've got great prizes. It's a really good space to chalk in, good ground. We're not stuck in hot parking lots, so I'd say it's one of the best in the state.
We're here with Camille and Brittany, and just tell us a little bit about your art history.
So I am actually an art teacher. I teach middle school and high school. And I'm an engineer.
So how did this come about for you guys to start doing events like the Chalk Affair?
Oh, wow. So I went like 18 years ago. I went to an event. It was a chalk art event, and it was just so magical. And so I decided I would sign up the next year, and then here we are 18 years later. So.
And then I just have always done art kind of as a hobby. And when I moved to Salt Lake, I was kind of looking for a community, and I happened upon chalk art, and the rest is history. That was about 5 years ago.
So what is it that draws you guys back to Tremonton year after year to do this event?
They have really good snacks. No, no, it's a really cute area. It's fun. It's a fun small community. Zach does a great job putting it on, which is great. It's charming with the little bell tower that goes on, and the snacks are good.
Honestly, going to some of the smaller community events is the most rewarding because you give people this idea of things they might not have seen yet, and you really get to interact with them on a more like personal level than you sometimes get with really big crowds. And it's really nice to just be able to have that personal interaction.
So tell us a little bit about your piece and the inspiration you have for it.
So the theme's remember, and so I put together a piece where the woman has clock gears that are making up her head, and she's holding an hourglass. Sometimes I feel like the gears are not working quite in my head to remember things, so maybe it's a reflection of what's going on internally. I don't know.
So I wanted to kind of play on a little bit of wordplay, actually. So I was trying to come up with something. I like drawing a lot of animals, but I was looking to do something a little bit different. So I thought, well, dandelion's kind of right there. Might as well just roll with it.
If anyone is interested in learning how to do this, we actually do have a Facebook group called Utah Chalk Artist. Anyone's welcome. We are the worst competitors because we will tell you all of our secrets. We will help you do this. It's not unusual if someone's struggling to get a piece done that we'll hurry and get ours done and go help them get theirs done. It really is a great community. It's not we are competitive, but it's a very friendly competition. We want everyone to do their best. So I hope that this inspires some people to want to try this because it is a lot of fun.
We're here with Shannon Johnson from Academy Mortgage, and we're just going to get to know you a little bit better and hear about your business and what you guys have to offer. Tell me how many years you've been in this business.
So I have been in the mortgage industry for about 25 years. I've done kind of everything. I started off in the industry when I was 21, just looking for a job. So didn't really intend on making it a career.
What did you like about it, and why did it keep you for so long?
I just like that it's different. Every day is different. Every scenario is different. And I started seeing how it was really affecting families. And I love that. I love that it's getting people into homes, and it's really helping them accomplish a goal. So I like being a part of that.
And so you work closely with Trudy Hatch.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about the pair and how you guys have worked together over the years.
Yeah, Trudy is awesome. So she is our branch manager, and I've been working with her for about 3 years. This will be our third year together, and she's fantastic. She is, our leader and our fearless leader, and we just bounce everything off of each other, and it works really well. If Trudy has a scenario that maybe she hasn't run across and someone else has, we can just kind of bounce things off of each other. If I don't know the answer to a question or something that I'm not familiar with, Trudy almost always knows the answer, so that's good.
And what are some of the services that you guys provide, or things, if people are not sure when to use you, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So obviously when you're buying or refinancing a house, you would come to us. A lot of people, it's a goal to refinance a house or to purchase a new home, but they don't know where to begin to do that. I always suggest to my clients, if you are thinking you may want to buy a house in the future, come talk to us. We can just put together a game plan, even if it's not something that you plan on doing this year or even next year. We can put together a plan for 2 years from now or 5 years from now.
And what's that process look like? What can people expect whether they're just testing the waters or if they're really trying to get the home?
Yeah, so it's actually a really easy process. A lot of people are super intimidated by it because they've just never done it before. So you can either call us or come in and see us, and really we'll just take an application. We'll look at your credit, and look at, the other debts and things that you have. We'll look at your income and just put together a scenario and say, well, you can buy a house now and this is how much you can afford. Or let's wait for, 6 months or wait for a year, or whatever the case may be. But we'll put together that timeline and let you know what your purchase price availability is. And then that way, when you go to talk to a realtor, hey, this is my max. We can talk payments, we can talk, everything, and make sure that you're comfortable with the monthly payment at that price point.
When people are starting in this process, it's kind of a hard thing to do. What's the advantages of getting an expert like you and Trudy?
So, my personal opinion, having someone local that knows the area, knows the realtors in the area, knows the title companies, that kind of thing. We have relationships. This business is all about building those relationships. And being in the industry for as long as Trudy and I have been, I believe Trudy's been in the real estate industry for 25 or 30 years. We've seen a lot, and we've been through a lot of the ups and downs and that kind of thing. So you're getting the knowledge of previous years. We're not afraid to take on the challenging ones. There is never a no. It's always maybe not right now. So if we can't get you a mortgage right now, we'll discuss how we can in the future. So Trudy and I are the problem solvers. So, we definitely want to make sure that we can help you achieve your goals.
And I know when people have gone through processes, there's always I wish I would have known this sooner. What's some advice you'd give that way?
A lot of times I hear people wish they would have started sooner, that they would have talked to a lender before they started looking at houses. Because once you start looking at those houses and you get your heart set on $1 million house, but you can only afford a $300,000 house, now that looks junky. You're never going to be happy with that. You want the $1 million. So if you don't look first, just come and talk to us first. Let's talk about price point, and then you can really start looking. Another thing a lot of people wish is that they had talked to a realtor in the beginning of the buying process. Zillow and these online sources are good to sort of compare things, but you really want to talk to a realtor to help you in that process. And typically the buyers are not paying the realtor's commission. So they really are working for you, and they can help you weed through some of the homes that maybe are not the best. Trudy and I we love this community. We love living here. Trudy and I both live locally. We love this community. We love being a part of it, and can't wait to see it grow. It's exciting. It's exciting, and it's sad to see it not being the tiny town it once was, but where there's growth, there's opportunity, and for everyone. And so we just really love it and are just so grateful to be a part of this community.
And part of the presentation is to help public understand the context in which we're considering going through the process for truth and taxation. So we wanted to just highlight some of the noteworthy items that are included in the tentative budget. That final budget will come after you complete that public process, and then consider if you want to increase property taxes or not, or to what degree you want to consider increasing property taxes. What's driving that is really some increases with public safety. And you can see here on this slide, the first item is 5 additional police officers, or police positions within the police department, I should say, which equates to essentially 3 patrol officers, 1 sergeant, and 1 civilian staff. One of the things that we didn't highlight in this presentation that really we should be talking about is there is a plan to increase our staffing at our fire department as well. And that staffing in part includes the general fund transferring money to the fire fund, because that is a separate fund. I think this year proposed transfers in the neighborhood of $385,000. And we're proposing increasing staffing in the fire department by hiring 3 captains. And that would make a 4-person crew available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which will really help meet the ongoing demands for fire service. Also, a proposal to have a city planner, and we talked a lot about this in our work session, because we don't have a city planner per se. Previously, we had a building official, Steve Bench. I think everyone knows Steve. He was a community treasurer and is highly regarded for all the great years of service he did. He was unique in the fact that he would provide building inspections, but he would also be the first point of contact, being a zoning administrator, answering zoning questions, helping people procedurally through the process. And it's something that we've missed dearly since he's left, not to mention all the additional state mandated planning processes and legislation that's been enacted that the city has to comply with. We could spend quite a bit of time talking about the reasons why we need a city planner position, the benefits, what you're getting for that position, and frankly why it's needed. We've talked a lot about growth, and really that's what the city planner position is involved in, is working with and managing and trying to preserve and protect the health, safety, and welfare of our community through planning process. So there is a 7.2% COLA included in this, which would increase the employees' wages by that amount, which is attributed and directly attributed to an inflationary index that we use. There's also some large projects, I think, worth noting. The mayor and others in the city have worked very hard to pursue grants, and within this budget there are several projects that realize these anticipated grant revenues. I think the most notable one is the construction of Service Area 4, which is a secondary water, and the grant is about $2 million. That service area, the engineer's estimate shows it about 2.1 to 2.2. There's also the ASR project, which has $200,000 in grant funds, and Midland Square upgrades, $400,000 in grant funds. The other thing I was going to mention to you is wastewater treatment. There is a big upgrade that's planned to our wastewater treatment plant. I think it's about $3.5 million, which will increase some capacity, and also address some of the needs that we're seeing, or deficiencies. We talked about the police officers, we talked about the planner. Those are what we've identified in this budget, although, as we mentioned, inflation is a significant part of what this budget has to adjust to. And there's been a lot of different line items within the budget that's been affected by inflation. We talked about the public safety and the firefighters that will be hired, which is also included in this budget. So in total, there's $1.2 million, or $1 million essentially, and in a gap between our revenues that will be generated by property tax and what we need. It equates to a 50% increase in the city's portion of the property tax, and that's important to know, because we don't want there to be confusion about your total tax bill going up 50%. It would be essentially the city's portion. So right now, the city's portion is 21%, and this increase would increase your portion of your property taxes paid to Box Elder County to 27% being attributed to Tremonton City. 2022 property tax on a $375,000 home would equate to in 451, which is attributed to 21%. And then this pie chart to the right is what's being proposed in property tax for a $375,000 home, again, with a 50% increase to the city's portion, bringing that portion to 27%, and the total amount is going to be
$626.
On a 375 is what we calculate is essentially $14.56 a month. Things to keep in mind as it relates to property tax. One thing to understand is that property tax does not increase with inflation. The calculation of property tax that the city receives is essentially the same amount of revenue that we received last year plus new growth. But the calculation for that the Box Elder County auditor goes through does not include any inflationary increase. And so what happens often is as costs increase, essentially the taxes remain the same because the new growth, in part is demanding new additional services. So for this year, as an example, Tremonton City is realizing growth of $37,000 attributed to new growth. When I say new growth, I'm talking about new taxable value. The other thing is just to understand is that there can be tax shifts that occur in any given year. So the Box Elder County assessor, he's taxed or he's charged with assessing property values, and in some cases, commercial property within the market will increase, and housing values will decrease, and it can shift what a group of property owners pay. What the property tax system is trying to do is to be fair and equitable, and capture the amount of revenue that's needed for local government to provide service. As we talked about, there's a proposed property tax increase potentially. It is a public process that we'll go through, and this is the first step in that public process, which right now the Box Elder County auditor has calculated a certified tax rate based upon the calculation formula that they have, and that certified tax rate will deliver to the city $2 million. Some of the changes that we are proposing in the budget requires $3 million in property tax, and so that certified or that tax rate would be what you see in the green box. So in the right box is the county auditors, and in that green box is what's being proposed in the budget. Depending on what the city council does tonight, if they do move forward and propose a tax rate that's different than the certified tax rate that the auditor calculated, then we'll go through what's called the truth in taxation. Then we'll have the public hearing. Again, people will be invited to come and share insights and comments or concerns with the city council, either supporting or opposing the proposed property tax increase. If you want to know more about the budget, dig deeper on the city's website under city council packets, and if you go to tonight's meeting, there is essentially I think it's close to 40-page narrative that includes graphs. It includes, again, even more detail about the budget, what's included in the budget, projects that are being done within the budget, and essentially what we're going to try to accomplish this year.
Tremont City Council does an absolutely terrific job. They're a good group of people who are trying their best to make Tremont City a better place to live. When they have an issue, they listen, they learn, they study, and make the issue better. They make a decision that they can live with, and make the Tremonton City a better place. And they have hard decisions. And very few people appreciate the price that the city council pays for Tremonton City. Everyone hates tax increases, but sometimes they're just necessary no matter what we do. Cities in the county pay some property taxes, and Tremonton's easily the second biggest city in the city, or in the county. Since 1997, Bearber City has raised taxes 5 times, and they've averaged 19%. Brigham City has raised taxes 7 times, and they have averaged a 21% increase. Deweyville has done once at a 66% increase. Elwood Town has raised taxes 3 times, averaged a 41% increase. Garland City has raised twice, 22% increase. Howell City has raised twice, a 25% increase. Mantua has raised 4 times, a 31% increase. Perry City has raised 6 times with an average of 23%. Tremont City has raised once with a 12% increase. Willard City has raised taxes twice and a 40% increase. We don't like to raise taxes, but as I understand it, the taxes are going mostly to fund the police department and personnel issues in the city. And that's valuable, and it's important, and it's a tough decision. And I wish the council the best of luck, and I admire the council for the sacrifice they make for Tremont City, because it is a sacrifice that you men and women make for Tremont City. And thank you very much.
I kind of want to just make sure everybody understands this process started back in February. And this council spent numerous hours through February and March analyzing needs of the city. We went through all sorts of road projects, all sorts of other capital projects that are needed. We went through lots of equipment needs and understanding the long-term impacts and how do we fund these things, not just for this year, but looking out for how do we address the potential growth going forward in the future years and understanding those needs. And I just want to emphasize the number of hours that this council spent to get to this point. And this wasn't a rash decision, this wasn't a hasty decision, this was a long debated decision. And I just want to make sure that's on record as to how many hours was put into this process to get to this point, to understand what the basic needs are. And then, in conjunction with that, the efforts that the city staff went through to identify potential cuts, where were potential additional revenues, what grants could be sought after, how could we take and minimize the impact of what the future funding needs of the city are. And there's a lot of effort that went through all of that process. I mean, you can't detail out the number of hours, but I would like the city council to remember the amount of hours. And as we go through the next couple of months, remember the amount of time, not just this council, but all the staff spent trying to get to the best answer for the citizens. And I do think this budget reflects how to serve the citizens in this community the best.
Actually kind of really disappointed in our community for this place not being packed to come and support our law enforcement. There should be a lot more people here. We currently, from my understanding, have 1 officer covering 6 schools. Totally, I don't think that's really that cool. I mean, as a parent, I would like to see more than that, but from what I was told, we're 4 to 5 officers short. So I'm not sure where they're gonna put that pull from. But my question is, why are we waiting for 4 to 5 officers short before we give them the help that they need and the funds that they need? 2 years ago, we were told that all this growth was supposedly going to sustain itself. And I mean, I know Sean's mentioned that he's doing 2 and 3, 4, maybe 5 jobs currently. And how much more can our city take before we're just going to have to keep increasing taxes every year? And I get that tax increase is inevitable. It's got to be done. When are we going to bring in some more businesses to help soften this blow? I was with a car full of ladies that are about mid-60s today, and they were listing off all of the stores that used to be around when they were young. And there was literally more stores in Tremonton than there are now. We're over 10,000 people, right? And they were talking about all these candy shops, movie theaters, way more than we have now. I don't know how we can keep every time something comes up, every time we grow more, how we can keep affording to raise taxes to give these people what they need, but it's inevitable. Our law enforcement, they need help. They need more people. We need more coverage at our schools. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Tax increase is a hard pill to swallow, but I do know that over the 2 years we've been talking in planning committee and in this meeting, we've asked several times, is our taxes going to go up because of services, EMTs, police, fire department? And the answer was always, generally speaking, no. It would come from the revenue brought in from the new property taxes. So I kind of feel like we've been misled a lot, but I do think we do need more fire, more police officers. I worry about the people that are really struggling financially. That's where my heart is, because there's a lot out there. Whether it's old or young or in between, or single moms or single dads, it's going to be hard for a lot of people.
I think this budget speaks primarily to our mission. Our mission for Tremonton City is creating a safe and welcoming community where neighbors feel connected to each other and they can enjoy life. And that's what this is all about. It has to do with safety and having a community that is well planned, and serving on this community, on this council has been such a great experience as I attend what we call Development Review Committee, as I attend Planning Commission. I can't tell you what I've learned about how carefully this city is being planned. It is being done carefully. And so I just want to just share that with everyone that's listening and everyone that's here, that this is about Tremonton being a safe and wonderful community that we can be proud of. And it is not taken lightly for someone to come here and want to develop some of their land. Come to Development Review Committee. You're welcome as a citizen to come to that. And I can guarantee that you will leave that meeting knowing that nothing is done quickly in Tremonton City. It is very strategically and carefully planned. And I have to recognize our city manager for that. Partly, he does an amazing job helping our city to have a land use plan that is extremely valuable.
This isn't easy doing what we're doing. We hope you understand that everybody here, and I believe everybody here, has the best interest of our city at heart. I got to pay more taxes. You got to pay. Everybody's got to pay more. We're not cutting anybody out of this, and I know a lot of people too that are struggling and things like that. It's a hard decision. It's been my hardest decision since I've been here, but I hope everybody really understands that we are doing what we can with what we have to work with. We have the greatest of faith in every one of our department heads that they have cut where they can cut, and this is, to me, I think the only option we have. And I appreciate the comments tonight. I didn't come with, I kind of thought there might be someone the other way, but I appreciate everybody's comments. We know what we need in this town, and thank you for having the concern of the city.
Let us know your thoughts on the property tax by leaving a comment, and be sure to attend the City Council meeting in August. Next week, we'll talk to the artist who's created the Shoshone mural. Clay Summers from Hanging Arrow Barber will be in the mix, and watch our coverage of the July Farmers Market. That's all next week.